Hello, I'm in your walls and I still don't have a good mic. If you've seen most of my content, you probably know I'm working on a webcomic. And unless you traveled into the depths of my Instagram account, you probably don't know that I already completed a chapter. But that chapter was a pilot, and it's privated, because it's shit. So, it's not good. So today in this video, I'm going over the pilot, what I didn't like about it, and what changes I'm going to make for the full series. I will also be giving some advice for if you want to make something similar so you don't get burned out. So if you don't know what it's about, the premise centers around a city called Enheit. There are laws that classify certain people as dangerous or unpredictable, and forces those people to get trackers that cause intense pain when experiencing strong negative emotions. They can even kill you in certain circumstances. In the first season, or book, it centers around Nemone, a young, compliant girl who refuses to acknowledge the injustice in the system, but gets put in a situation where she is forced to become an outlaw so she can have the chance to save her best friend, or just get shot if she continues to remain obedient to the laws. The series will focus on one unique character for each of the 5 seasons, and will center around themes of oppression and bigotry. The first episode of the series is going to be a rewrite of the pilot, so you know what we're working with, I'm gonna do a dramatic reading, unfortunately for me. But why do I have to go to that school? Can't I just stay with you? I told you before, I can't. But it's going to be okay. But I won't see you for 5 years! Why is it that long? Like I already said, you can't get the trackers under 15 without major risks. So until you're old enough, you'll have to stay in Make Clear. But after that, you'll get to leave. But can't they kill you? Oh no, it's Nemone's old name. Mizumi, it won't hurt you, I promise. They only hurt bad people, and you're far from that. The trackers are made to keep people safe. So there's nothing to worry about, my little shrimp. I still don't understand. Why do I need the trackers just so I can stay here? Are we really that dangerous? It's to keep people safe. But I never hurt everyone! This dialogue is so bad. So those are the first few pages, and since then I have improved a lot in both art and writing. But back then, I wasn't very good at that, and this was at a time where I had no experience making comics. I was still pretty early in the brainstorming phase where I wasn't sure what the story was even going to be, and when I drew the comic, I kept skipping on doing the concept art and character sheets, which was a recipe for disaster. But I am still glad I was able to make this. It allowed me to figure out my workflow for making comics, and was a good first step before tackling a whole series. So after finishing it, I put it on hiatus to figure out more of the world building, character dynamics, and arcs, and also working on an actual final draft. And as I was doing that, I was taking writing classes and improving on my art. So there are gonna be a lot of changes. So let's start with what I liked about it. The thing I do like is the way I wrote her mother. At some point in the comic, Riva snaps at her out of anger, and I feel like I wrote that part well. While I think some of the dialogue doesn't sound like she's talking to a child, I think there are other parts that do. I like that in the beginning, like the first few pages, Nemone's dialogue does feel like a child. But I feel as the comic does go on, it does feel much less and more on the nose, more just unnatural. One thing I do like is, though, that this one does start with a conflict between 2 characters instead of just giving an exposition dump through a history lesson like I was originally going to do. Even if Riva's dialogue has a bit too much unnecessary exposition, it's better than what I was originally going to do, but that's as far as my praises go. For example, the art. I don't think the art is very well drawn, especially with the way the heads are. There is also a lot more rendering in this comic compared to what I planned to do for the whole series, which is very little. And like I said, I ended up skipping on character sheets when designing Nemone's school uniform and figuring out how her mother is going to look. I also don't like the lack of people in the background, which makes no sense for the context of the story. As for the dialogue, at times it just feels unnatural, and especially later on towards the end of the comic, the dialogue starts to feel really on the nose. Like in the end of the comic, I had a whole inner monologue with Nemone to explain how this event affected her, when I feel like you could tell if you read the whole thing. So yeah, I don't like it anymore. First, I decided that the premise of the pilot and the beginning of chapter 1 will stay the same. It's meant to take place 5 years before the rest of the story, where our main character is being sent to a school called Mayclear. The first reason is because I want to show what she is like before entering the school, and show the beginning of her really bad mindset. I also want to show what it's like outside the school, for reasons I'll get to later. Another thing is, I think having Nemone, who is young and anxious, asking questions, and Riva trying to explain could be a decent way to explain a little bit to the viewer about the world. But unlike the pilot, I'm gonna try to do a bit more showing than telling, and also make it more subtle. I also decided for the series there won't be any inner monologue. Originally in the pilot there was, but I decided for this series it would work better without any. And unlike the last time, I actually have character sheets for the two characters as well as the school uniform. Because I didn't do that last time and just designed Riva on the spot, she ended up looking kind of boring and not well thought out. And unlike when I made the first comic, she will now play a much bigger role, so I figured a well thought out, actual good design would be good for her. I also decided Nemone wouldn't be wearing the school uniform in this chapter. I didn't really see a reason for why she would have to wear it before entering the school, and I wanted to give her something that I felt fit her personality. Speaking of the school uniform, I did redesign that too. In the original, it looked kind of like a sailor Japanese school uniform, which I don't think works. There aren't even any locations in the story based off Japan, and a lot of the world building is based more on the US. So I changed it and tried to make it feel very conservative. I also tried to make Nemone's uniform specifically feel much more put together than compared to a character like Ren. An important change I want to make for the story is the opening. I wanted to start with a scene that would establish the atmosphere, tone, and why Nemone would suddenly start acting the way she is. As for the new rewritten opening, I plan to discuss it in a later video about Ren that I'm working on, where I'll do a pitch of the first chapter at the end. But not this video. Fuck this. This script is a mess. As for the art direction, like I said earlier, I won't be rendering any shadows and instead use mostly airbrushing for rendering, and every now and then use some shading in important scenes. Because when you're drawing these characters over and over again, you could very much just get sick of it and not want to do it anymore. I also decided I would be hand drawing the panels and text bubbles, since I like how it looks when I don't make it perfect, and instead of the panels floating in a white background, it will be floating in a dark gray background. Personally, I don't like it when webcomics put their panels in pure white backgrounds. It's not nice to look at, and I just don't like it. Something I forgot to mention though are the changes I made to the world building. For example, whereas the original have trackers that kill you as soon as you commit a crime, for the final version, while it can kill you, it mainly just causes intense pain when you're feeling strong negative emotions. Having a tracker just automatically kill you when you don't obey the laws led me to making unnecessarily convoluted explanations to explain certain plot points. I also found this fit the theme better. In this society, a lot of people are stereotyped as being dangerous, so people end up either irrationally fearing them just because they're feeling strong emotions or dismissing their feelings. There are other changes I do plan on making for the story, but those changes are either spoilers or just stuff I plan on to reveal later. Despite how embarrassed I get when I read the old comic, I'm still very glad it exists. So my advice for if you want to do something similar, if you have a really big idea with multiple seasons or books, it's important to start small. If you can't bring yourself to work on anything else but the project, you can just start with something like a short story or a comic where two of your characters met, or like what I did. That way, when you start actually committing to a big project, you will hopefully know what you want to do for this comic, what it's going to look like, and how long it's going to take for you to make each page. That way, you'll be more prepared to jump into making such a long series. Okay, so I just want a second to complain a bit, but the script is a mess. Instead of scripting it and then recording and then doing the editing, I ended up doing all three of those things at the same time. I didn't even go through the script before recording and checking for grammatical errors. Anyways, I am very excited to continue working on this project and continue to share my passion for this story. I hope you enjoyed the video. Oh, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed it.